What is up, everybody? Welcome to my review of We Have a Ghost, a Netflix film that you should be able to watch around the same time that this video premieres. This is the newest film by director and I believe writer Christopher Landon, and he's been on a little bit of a hot streak here lately. He had Happy Death Day to You, had Freaky, all three movies that performed really well, that audiences and critics liked, and I myself really enjoyed all three of those, especially the first Happy Death Day, one of the biggest surprises that year in my opinion. So his name as the director is really the main thing that drew my interest for this. And essentially what you have here is an E.T. if it was a ghost type setup, where you have a family that moves into this decrepit old house that probably anybody with half a brain could tell is probably haunted as fuck, and lo and behold, David Harbour is the ghost up in the attic. But a friendly ghost that the youngest son of the family actually wants to help, actually wants to aid in figuring out why he hasn't crossed over, and go on a little mystery run trying to figure out exactly how it is he became a ghost in the first place. And starting off with the positives, I would say that that model right there, having the E.T. template and going more in a paranormal direction, it was a fun little premise. And anything that follows the E.T. template or that Amblin Entertainment vibe tends to, even at its worst, just deliver serviceable, passable family entertainment. This is much more family friendly, a lot more into the PG angle than Christopher Landon's previous three films, so I think that a lot of teenagers and adults and even some young children will probably get a lot of joy out of this. There is a little bit of slapstick edge to it. There's a little bit of that heartwarming, sentimental family stuff in there, and so it's got a little bit of everything for the entire family. Performances across the board for what this movie demands of them I thought was really good. The main one for me being Anthony Mackey. That's just an actor that I really enjoy, and I don't get to see him do too much outside of playing Falcon in the MCU, and I really liked his character here, to where he's a father who clearly loves his kids, loves his wife, but he's a complicated guy. He's got flaws. He's got these insecurities that unfortunately they have to pay for. There's also a pretty nice mix of tones here. You have that family entertainment side of things. You have a little bit of action that goes along with that, very much in the vein of like Ghostbusters. Don't take that too literally. But you also have a little bit of comedy in here, a little bit more physical comedy with the powers of David Harbour and him kind of doing things to scare or try to scare various people that go into this house. And then you also have some darker elements that come through in the third act whenever the mystery starts to get solved, and I thought that they were all pulled off fairly well. One didn't undercut the other. It didn't feel like it was battling tones. It all worked with a nice little synergy. Unfortunately, in the end, I felt this was a gigantic misfire. I felt like pretty much every single thing that they had that was potentially a really neat storyline or could have gone somewhere good, or even just as simple as a cast member that they had right there that could do wonderful things for the enjoyment of this movie, they kind of snuffed it out. And so it just kind of was more of a bland adventure that unfortunately was also stretched out past 2 hours, and it had no reason to be that long. First of all, you get introduced to this ghost, and the youngest kid immediately kind of endears himself to him. He's not scared, he thinks he's funny, and he begins to communicate with the ghost played by David Harbour, and very quickly he gets engrossed in the mystery of why he has not crossed over, why he is stuck in this house, what exactly happened, and David Harbour's ghost has no memory, and so they come up with the idea of, well, let's try to figure out what happened, and maybe you finding certain things out will jog your memory and will be able to set you free. And so it's very much like a, get E.T. to the spaceship by the end of the film type setup. Unfortunately, the core mystery of what happened to David Harbour, why is he a ghost, why is he stuck in this house, and the little nuggets that happen throughout the movie where he sees something that jogs a little bit of memory, it's just not that compelling. And one of the main reasons why it is not compelling, and honestly my biggest issue with the film overall, is that for some baffling reason, they decided to make David Harbour's character mute. His ghost cannot speak. He can communicate by mouthing words. He can communicate by, wiping on fogged glass and putting a couple of letters together. But why in the living fuck would you ever cast somebody that is so naturally charismatic like David Harbour and is an actor that all of us love, even when he's in a shitty Hellboy movie, to play a character that can't fucking speak? Say something! I feel like I've been saying this a couple of times over the past couple of years. Like most recently, the Willy's Wonderland is the one that I can remember, Harbour with Nicolas Cage. Why would you hire Nicolas Cage to play a character that has no lines? And so because David Harbour can't really do his best work, I mean, he does some decent physical work here, that's all he really is able to do, but he's not able to bring that David Harbour likability and that David Harbour charm to the character, and so you really can't identify with the character, you can't connect with the character, you can't really endear yourself to the character, and so you don't give a fuck what the end of the mystery is. I don't care why he's a ghost, he's boring. But even beyond the core mystery, the core storyline of the film, there's things that are set up that feel like they're not explored whatsoever that actually could have mirrored the entire journey that they go on with David Harbour, like the storyline I was talking about regarding Anthony Mackie and the main character. There's obviously something going on to where he has fucked up numerous times and caused his family to move. It, right from the rip, is shown that he has contention with his youngest son because everybody else in the family just kind of takes it as it is what it is, and his youngest son is really starting to get walled off to his father because of the choices that his father has made. And they never really specifically tell you what is going on or what has happened or what mistakes he has made. There's one throwaway line that his wife has about, "This sounds like that pyramid scheme." So is he just somebody that has gambled away his family's earnings numerous times? What exactly has happened? You don't know. All you know about this character is that him and his son don't get along so well. There's a bit of a block there. And immediately when the ghost shows up, he does everything that the main character does not want him to do and just tries to profit off of it. And that's something that I wanted to see more of. I wanted to explore more of it, because once you start to get into the answers and the things where the mystery of David Harbour's fate as a human goes by the third act, and you start to tie in his long-lost daughter throughout the movie, and there's a bit of a mirror there between father and daughter and father and son and the relationships that have been broken and why were those not connecting. There's a version of this story to where by the end of their journey with David Harbour's ghost, you could also heal the relationship between father and son, and it just didn't feel like they earned anything like that. It didn't feel like it was written in a way to be that way, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why, because that was the only two storylines going on. There is also massive logic leaps that this movie asks you to take. Now, I understand it's kind of a silly, borderline slapstick at times, like family comedy, but at the same time, you have to have a bit of realism there. And when these kids start going on this little adventure to solve the mystery of David Harbour's ghost, I mean, they're literally committing felonies, they're causing pile-ups, they're making cops crash into buildings and potentially kill everybody that was in that building. I mean, I understand you're supposed to turn your brain off and just enjoy the metal crunching during those sequences, but all I was thinking is these kids are going to prison for the rest of their fucking lives when this is done. And you even have another character in here who is kind of like the ghost hunter character who works for the military and is played by the same actress that did all of the reshoots for Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, and her motivations made absolutely no sense to me. Like, I never understood why she was driven to do anything that she does in this film. There is switches that she makes that I don't feel were earned or explained whatsoever, unless I just dozed off during one crucial scene, which I don't remember, unless I just blacked out. I didn't sleep during this movie. It feels like there was a couple pages of script with her character missing or something. I just don't get it. Her entire placement in this film just baffled me. So overall, I mean, this is an innocent enough movie. It's not anything that offends me whatsoever with its shortcomings. I think that there is some people out there that will be able to throw this on and just have a mildly enjoyable 2 hours with it with their family, and I think that that's about the most that you can expect from this one. But from the director's track record so far, from the talent on screen, especially David Harbour, this could have been so much more and should have been so much more. Well, that's it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed this, please click over here for a playlist of all of my 2023 new release reviews, and I'm also going to put a playlist up here of my ranking of all of last year's film that I watched. I think there's like 86 movies in that one, so please, if you enjoyed this, check those out, like and share this video, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything in the future, and as always, remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean you have to be.